welcome back. A bit of a change to what I had planned to do. I had planned to do a model railway video, but I received this very nice Zvezda T3476 from the chaps over at armorama.com and the Kitmaker Network. So to do the right thing for those guys for sending me a kit, I'm going to go ahead and do this video just now. So this is a 2020 model. It's based on the 2018 tooling of the Zvezda T34 with some new parts to make it the 1942 model. Presentation, you get a nice full color box like this. It's bilingual, Russian and English, and then there's a separate box that comes inside that's got a bit more structural integrity, just to go ahead and make sure the kit gets to you in top quality. This box has probably been most of the way around the world, I think, because it went from Russia, where it's made, all the way out to the US and then on to Korea, but it's held up very nicely, and in fact the inner box has no signs of damage at all, and all the kit parts look to have survived. So first thing that we'll look at, kind of the norm, is the instruction booklet. Multilingual, we've got English, we've got Russian up here, German, Italian, and what I believe is French, but please don't quote me on that. The tools that you'll need are given down here is in diagram form. So, you know, I assume that y'all are intelligent enough to understand what tools you need without needing to dig into that. It's a single booklet, this one. It's black and white. So we've got our parts layout, then steps 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. There's a lot that goes into each step, but I feel like for the most part of what I can see here, it's quite a lot of the repetitious things like the suspension, road wheels and such. So having them being a bit cluttered doesn't bother me any. And then as we move on, things kind of get a bit simpler. So that's not too bad. There's a grid here for cutting the mesh as well. So that's going to be useful. We'll show you that in a wee second, along with a few stowage options, and then the final assembly. Based purely on the instructions, it doesn't look like it's going to be a very complex kit. So that's kind of going to give us a view towards it being more on the Tamiya end of the spectrum rather than on the Dragon end. For color, we're given a single card here, which is double-sided. So we have a Leningrad version here with the winter white, and then the green lower hull, which obviously would not have been painted. And then a couple of versions, Leningrad red banner, and then the Stalinettes from Leningrad 43 as well. So they give you limited options, but I'm sure with a little bit of research into what the T-34s were up to in 1942 and 1943, it will give you plenty of options. But they have provided some really nice decals which go with these particular vehicles. There's a piece of string for the tow cables. It is pre-colored silver, which is quite nice. Means that you won't have to spend too much time painting it, and it feels to be of a good gauge. It doesn't try and wrap itself up into a Gordian knot when you let go of it. So once you kind of lay it down, it should lay down quite nicely. I apologise, by the way, for the state that my hands are in. I was painting the aircraft the other day, and aircraft paint, for those of you that don't know, doesn't come off your hands once it's on there. It's kind of designed to stay under all conditions. So despite scrubbing, it's still all there. Looking at these clear parts, we've got some periscopes. We've got the headlight as well, and everything looks very clean. There's nothing I can see in the way of mold seams or flashing or anything that would be cause for concern. Everything looks very nice. It all looks very clear, as it should. It doesn't look like there's been any contaminants or anything allowed in, so that's all quite good. We've got the strip of mesh here. Now, eyeballing it, there should be enough here to have 2 goes. Making it is quite stiff as well. It does have a little bit of texture, and it's a silvered colour if the camera is not picking it up too well on the white background. It's kind of got a silvered colour as well, so it's almost pre-painted as it comes. So that's quite a nice touch. Obviously better than a single screen like you would get on some of the older Tamiya T34s, but not quite going to the same extent of having a PE grill such as Dragon and one of the options for the Academy. The other option on the Academy kit obviously being to go with the solid Tamiya-like part. And then the decals here, I don't read Cyrillic, so I can't tell you what all of these mean, but obviously tank slogans were a big thing in the Soviet Union during World War II, so you've got a few of them that correspond with the marking guide given to you, so it's entirely up to you if you want to use them. The paper looks like it's nice and thin, doesn't look too heavy, and the print looks crisp enough. It's the kit retails at around about $30. Translating, I wasn't able to find a store that sold it in the US, but that might have just been through lack of effort on my part. Maybe your local retailer has it, I don't know. But everywhere I was looking at, I was translating into Korean won, and around about 1,000 Korean won is $1, and it was coming out at about 30,000 Korean won there. So 30 bucks, thereabouts, which isn't a bad price in my opinion. Okay, next sprue up, we've got 2 sets of tracks, obviously one for each side. We have 2 flat runs and then a couple of shorter runs and some individual links. It doesn't look as though they've got any preformed sag or anything in them, but they don't look too bad. What you can do with this, it tells you in the instructions to do this. I caught it in a glimpse as we were going by, is to kind of set these together. I forget the exact way that they did it, maybe like this. But you set them together, yeah, it's like this. And this gives you your guide for setting up your track sag and for getting the curves on the ends as accurate as you can get them without having to glue directly to your model. So bit of creative thinking from Zvezda. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Okay, hull parts. So it's a 3-part bathtub style hull. We've got the outer edges here. We've got some drive wheels. What else do we have? This part here has decided it wants to break away a little bit, but that's the only one. These 2 guys here are the only 2 that I can see that are making a bid for freedom. We've got exhausts. We've got the ice grousers, which are, the 4 of them are molded together. On the Dragon kit, these come individually. We actually have options for the exhausts as well. Some here, some here. And the suspension springs are separate in the Academy style, although shorter. The Academy ones, there's a lot of hidden detail. The spring is the prototypical length, if you want, but you don't see it behind the road wheel, and behind the inner part of the hull, the Academy ones will come right up, but you never see it, so you're kind of paying for something you're never going to use. But hey, to each their own. The Academy kit is a fine kit, as this is looking to be. I've not seen anything as we move on to some more hull parts. Uh-oh, this is broken. So this guy right here, this member right on my fingertip was out of alignment. I barely touched it and it went back together. So I'm going to set this to the side and dab that with a bit of Tamiya Extra Thin, and it'll be a good enough repair. We've got the gun mantlet, we've got parts for the mud guards here, we've got some stowage and the fuel cells. So these look to be a 4-part design, but they look quite nice. The casting here for the machine gun does have a little bit of cast texture. It's not as aggressive as Academy do, but it's not as absent as the Tamiya version, so that's quite nice as well. And it's a 2-part machine gun. But yeah, with the exception of that, that's the only broken part that I've seen. There's a couple of parts that have been trying to break away from the frame, but that's the only actually broken piece. Then this is the outside of the driver's cover again on the Academy version. Quite aggressive, but on this one, very subtle. So to each their own with that one, really. And gather up the wheel frames just snap. And here we have lower hull, upper hull, and turret. The turret is super smooth, excuse me, for the type of turret that it is. It should be cast, I believe, although it does have some weld detail, which is nice, but it's very, very smooth. So that would be a texturing job that would need to be done. On the rear deck there, you can see the louvers are in the closed position. So it's nice that they've thought to go ahead and do that rather than just having a solid piece. There is actually some detail right here for you to see through your grille, and then molded plastic tow cables. So it gives you the option to go with the more complex if you so desire. And as I've expressed in the past, I do like that very, very much. It's a 2-piece barrel, but it comes with a muzzle, even though the 76mm was just a straight pipe, so you don't have to drill out or anything like that. It should look pretty crisp right off the bat. And again, nothing that I'm seeing in terms of mold seams or anything like that. The plastic on this lower hull and on the upper hull looks a bit marbled, which is interesting. I don't know if that's to do with Zvezda's recipe, and that's just kind of how it goes for them. It's not something that I've seen before though. The intention is to build this kit over the course of the next week or so, and then do another video as an after action report to talk about what it's actually like to go ahead and build it. Next up in sports, we have road wheels. We have 5 frames, some with rubber road tires, some without. So going first with the rubber road tires. These look exactly the same as the Academy ones that I used in the demonstration of how to battle damage these and kind of tear them up a little bit so they don't look as factory fresh. You know, abuse it to your own level, but they do have a slight seam down the middle. I've seen rubber road tires on real tanks that when they're new, they do have that seam. So not too put off by that, if you will. It's just kind of one of those things that kind of it be how it be, if you understand my meaning. And then for the steel wheels, they've got little pins to make sure everything mounts up, same as on the rubber tires. But again, everything looks nice. They've got a very slight seam down the middle. We've got a bit of a thread here that probably belongs to someone. But yeah, I mean, it's not a huge number of parts in this kit. It's 271, but there's nothing in it that, you know, jumped out at me as being particularly technical. The tracks kind of come with a jig, so you can put them together optimally. There was no photo etch. Everything just looked very nice. It looked like, hey, it's a $30 kit. You're gonna lose some of that detail that you would get with Dragon's $60 and $70 kits, but hopefully you put glue in the box, you shake it really hard, and a tank comes out. These are the kind of kits that I like, because I like fiddling with them and playing around and things like that. So this has been the Zvezda T3476, provided to me by Armorama.com for review. I'm going to go ahead and build this and get back to you with a video. We'll find out, I guess. Have a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can see what it looks like when it's built. Thank you. Have an excellent day.